Alright, so let's talk about the controller and how we can pass information to the views. Here I have the comments controller and I have the index.html ERB file in the views comments folder. To pass information to the views, start putting at in name of the variable. So for example, I'll say @message is hi world. So all the variables that start with @ will automatically be available to the views. So if I want to print that information, I would mainly do basically just do this. And the equal sign basically means print. And it says hi world. I can also pass arrays. So let's say I want to create an arrays, and let's say this is a new object of the class of the class array. So let's put this, and we'll add some error messages. Message 1. We'll put 3 error messages for now. So now the errors array will be available to my views. So how could I display the error messages in the views? You basically do. So I'm going to go through each errors, and put each of the message in a variable called error. And here, let's put that in the paragraph. So if I do that, it should display the error messages. I can put some more information. And if I go to the browser, it displays all the error messages. So I can pass just a string or arrays or anything back to the views, and the views can go through, do a for loop, display the error messages, and so forth. Okay? Alright, let's take it a step further. So let me delete this. And now what I want to do is, let's say in the index I want to retrieve all the comments. So let's create a variable, instance variable called @comments, and it talks to the model, comment model, and retrieves all comment. So now comments, which contains all of the comments, will be available to my views. So how do I display it? It's the exact same thing. I just go through each comment, and I now display the name and the description, which are the two fields that I specified in my comment model. Notice that I also added the validation rule for description name and name, and requiring the presence to be true. So if I do this, this is supposed to, the controller fetches all of the comments, passes that to the view, and in the view I do a for loop, go through each information in the comments, and I display the name and the description. There. Okay. I can do name, description, and it will display the information. I can even do, for example, h2 comment ID if you want to go out or print out the comment ID. And oops. Okay. And there it is, comment ID 1, all the way through, and displays the name and the description. Alright, so you can see how powerful MVC framework is, and how by doing things, by utilizing ORM, how just with a single line, how we are able to do all the queries and get all the information and pass that to the view. That was pretty cool. Alright, so now what I want to do is, let's say in the index, for some reason you wanted to add a new comment. And let's say you wanted to put the name, let's say John, and you try to save the comment. So if you looked in the models, remember that I required the name and the description, so this is supposed to generate some error message, right? This is not going to work. So now the instance variable comment is going to have some error messages contained. So how can I write my view so that it displays those error messages? So without going through all the explanations, let me show you one way that Rail does it, and this you will just see it repeatedly. So let me just copy the paste the codes, and this is what you will see often. And when you do scaffolding, this is one of the things that you will see in the form. So basically what happens is, as I try to save the comment, it generated some error messages. So it says, hey, for the errors, is there any? If there is any error messages, display this division, use a pluralize function. If there is one, if the errors count is 1, say 1 error prohibited this post from being saved. If errors count is 2, it will say 2 errors prohibited this post from being saved. And it goes through the errors, and there's also full messages, which is basically an array of all the error messages, and it goes through each of that, puts that in the message, and displays the message. So if I do this, notice that it said description can be blank. So all the validation happened all within the model. As I tried to save it, automatically the errors were contained and it was associated with that comment object. And I could just do the full messages and go through and display the error messages. So anything that relates to the database models, you can use the exact same functions over here to display the error messages. If you want to create some generic custom error messages, then just like what we did earlier, you can create a new array and then pass information, and then you can just do a for loop to display the error messages in your view file. So that's pretty much it. Go through this video a few times, make sure you type it, and make sure you feel comfortable with how you retrieve information from the model, pass that to the view. Also get familiar with just creating some arrays in the controller directly, passing that to the view, and making sure that you can have access to those variables you created in the controller, in the views, and so forth. You will be using a lot of for loop.each loop to iterate through the arrays that will be passed to the models or through your controller to display information. So make sure you feel pretty comfortable with this. Alright, so as with any MVC framework, how controllers and the view, how it works is pretty standard. Nothing really new here. Alright, cool.